episode 3 of Squatting Quads. 3 things I wish I knew before I took up FPV. Tip number 1, dog walkers. They're a mysterious breed, but they're also magical. You can drive 100 miles away from where you live. You can find a field in the middle of nowhere with no roads leading to it, no houses to be seen for miles and miles and miles. You sit down, you turn on your drone, you pull down your goggles, and right at that point, the doggers arrive.
I'd walk 100 dogs if my paws were big enough to hold all the leashes.
Dog walkers everywhere. Thing number 1 I wish I knew before I took up FPV is that dog walkers are magicians. Thing number 2 I wish I knew before I took up FPV. Well, I suppose this is not really relevant for when I took up FPV because it didn't exist. But don't discount the DJI FPV drone because it's got one thing that a newbie not needs, but that can help a newbie. So, okay, is it durable? No, it's made of plastic. Wonderful. Is it cheap? No. Are the battery cheap? No. However, one, you don't have to carry a GoPro. But the real thing I wish I knew before I took up FPV, if I'd have taken up FPV today, is that it's got an emergency brake. And that emergency brake, if you're trying stunts and tricks for the first time and you get disorientated, for a newbie is brilliant. So tip number 2, if you're a newbie, don't necessarily discount the DJI FPV drone. Yes, it's plastic. Yes, it's expensive. No, it's not perfect. But that e-brake, I have seen firsthand. A friend of mine who is a newbie and got a little bit disorientated, bang, hits that button, saves his drone, saves a crash, saves potentially hurting himself or others, etc. Tip number 2 is don't discount the DJI FPV potato. Tip number 3 I wish I knew before I took up FPV is know your terminology. Yeah, this one's going to get its own video, but I wish I knew when I first started. My PIDs, from my rates, from my filters to my smoothing, from my ELRS to my FR Sky to my Crossfire, from my Radio Master to my Jumper, from my Open TX to my Edge TX. This topic is massive, and this topic I think from a newbie point of view would really, really benefit a video where I speak about lots of different terminologies, what the terminology means, but also what is behind the terminology, because ADA, for instance, or ADA, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I think it's ADA, my really good Turkish friend, he quite often asks me about FR Sky and Free Sky and Fly Sky and Crossfire and what does this do and what does this mean and what does... It's a minefield of topics, and it really is something that people do need genuine help with. For instance, it's all well and good knowing that Crossfire, the ELRS is a control link, but so is FR Sky. So should you just pick up an FR Sky quad or get an ELRS one? Does that ELRS receiver work with that Emax remote that you've got that's FR Sky? Can you make it work? Is there any... What's these modules? There is so much, and again, I feel privileged that I've been in FPV for long enough to understand these topics and to know that when somebody asks me a question, I can answer it. I feel really privileged about that, but I want to share that knowledge. So, short one for today, but tip number 3 is I wish I knew all the terminology that I know now, but hold that thought, don't panic, because if you want to know more about terminology, I'm going to make another video, and what I'd recommend is if you drop a comment below asking about any terminology that you're struggling with, that's a video for you. So leave a comment below if you need any help with terminology, what the terminology is, and I will make sure that I include it, because there's so much to include in such a video that the chances I may miss things. So for now, much love, quads.